Hello and welcome to Yes, You Are Brave. This is a podcast where we are going to set off on a journey together to find and build our brave, where we explore all the ways that you have been brave and all the ways that you can be brave again. Because even though we may have forgotten or we may have fallen out of practice, we're all brave. And I'm on a mission to prove it and help you believe that yes, you are brave. Hello, and welcome back to Yes, You Are Brave. I'm Pawnee, I'm your host. Super excited you're here. Let's talk brave in this first episode of Chapter 2. Today I want to talk about the word allow. I want to talk about being brave enough to allow good things to come into your life. Okay, so story time for 2024. I picked a word for the year. And I know this is May and it's been a long time and blah, 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 whatever. But I picked the word, I did pick it back in January. And I decided to use the word allow because I felt like I oftentimes feel like I kind of get in my own way because I overanalyze things. I think too much. I get scared about whether or not I'm doing the right thing. And so I get in my own way and I don't always allow things to happen in maybe the most natural way. And so I decided this year I'm going to allow things to unfold however they will. Now, like I said, I'm kind of the person that I like to know how things are going to go. Okay. I like to know the outcome, and I realize a lot of us are like this, but I like to know the outcome. And sometimes I try to think too far ahead and then I get in the way and it just is a problem. So I decided I was going to allow things to unfold however they would unfold. That was just something that I decided I was going to do for 2024. And the other thing that I decided kind of along with that was I was going to allow myself to live in the present without worrying too much about the future. These kind of go hand in hand because, like I said, I like to know how things are going to turn out. I like to know how things are going to happen. And so I decided I don't need to know exactly what's going to happen. I need to stop focusing on the end goal way the heck down there, a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years down the road, and I just need to learn to live in the present. I want to talk about this a little bit more of like, how can we just allow things to unfold? How can we learn to live in the present? And I know that this is a little bit crazy and a little bit strange, but there's been a lot of things in my life that have changed, and I'm trying really hard and working to live in the present, to not disregard the future and not be flippant about it and not consider those things, but also just to live in the present. Because I think sometimes we miss some of the most beautiful moments in life because we are too worried about the future. And we are too worried about how things might turn out to just, when what we really need to do is just relax and let things happen. Just see how they happen. So that is one of the things that has kind of been amazing for me. And like I said, my life has completely changed. And I think it has changed so much because I decided that I was going to allow things to happen. I kind of made the choice a few months, I guess in December, that I wanted to just let things happen and see what happens. Then in January, I decided, okay, that's going to be my word for the year. And you know what's happened in those couple of months? I started dating the love of my life. And for the first time probably ever, I really truly let somebody in. And in March, I got married. And none of that would have happened if I had been too worried about how it was going to turn out. I was concerned, and I still would like to know how things are going to turn out. But it was allowing things to just kind of unfold instead of trying to put expectations on something that I had no control over. So here is my challenge for you for the rest of the year is what can you do to allow good things into your life? So allow things to be good. Allow them to be good. Stop looking for the bad And don't make problems up that aren't really there. Okay. This is something that I feel like has really come to be just kind of something that I see all the time. Now, I work currently at a residential treatment center for teenage girls, and I feel like they are always making drama where there really isn't drama. And not to say that they don't have difficulties, they don't have challenges, there isn't some drama, there isn't some real problems there going on, but I feel like sometimes when there's not drama, they can't stand that there's not drama, and they make drama where there really isn't any. And so sometimes it's like, okay, stop looking for the bad and just appreciate that things are going well right now. And I would challenge you to do that. Just stop looking for the bad. Don't make problems where there are none, because guess what? Your problems are going to come. They're going to be there. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to have problems. So you might as well just enjoy the little breaks that life gives you and not make problems where there are none. Okay. The other thing is give things a chance. Okay. Give things a chance. Allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to be bold. Allow yourself to be different. Allow yourself to be loved. Allow things to change. Allow for growth. So many things that we can allow into our lives. And allow imperfection to be the perfect fit, to be the perfect gift. Sometimes we are so worried about things being perfect and things fitting just right and all of these things that we miss the gift that is imperfection sometimes. Things can't always go perfectly smooth. And sometimes even when they do go perfectly smooth, it's not nearly as fun as when they don't go perfectly smooth. So I want you to think about, can I do this? Can I allow imperfection to be okay in my life? Also, I would say that, like, as a recovering perfectionist, sometimes we take all of the joy and we take all of the fun out of life by insisting that things be perfect, and by not trying because we're pretty sure we can't get it right and we don't want to be wrong. And sometimes just trying is part of the fun. And sometimes the journey, like, I know it sounds super cliche, but it's really all about the journey. Like, half the fun is getting there. And then you get to wherever it is you're going. You're like, okay, this is cool. And then guess what? There's a journey back. And so allow imperfection to be the perfect fit. The other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit is just some food for thought, some things for you to think about, some things for you to maybe consider is, am I keeping good things from coming into my life? Am I blocking them? Am I just not being open to new things? Am I self-sabotaging? There are a couple of girls where I work right now that were doing so well in everything. They were just really doing well. And then it got to a point, and I almost feel like they got kind of terrified of how well they were doing. And they just started self-sabotaging. And I don't know all the details because I only see one very small part of it. But sometimes I think we get afraid of what can happen. We become a bit terrified of the good that might just come into our lives. And so then we start to block it. We start to put up roadblocks. We start to say, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't want this. Or we start to self-sabotage, whether it is consciously or not. And we stop allowing good things to come into our lives. So we've got to be open, right? We've got to be open with what we want. If we're asking for good things, we've got to be willing to let those good things in. And so the other thing is they talk about, like, you attract what you put out, right? If you're putting out crazy vibes, you're going to attract crazy. And if you put out calm, you're going to get calm, those type of things. And if that's true, and you don't have to necessarily believe that's true, but maybe you can be brave enough to do a little experiment that if that is true, I also want to ask the question of, if it's true that we attract what we put out, can we actually receive those things that we want if we don't think that we deserve them? If we don't actually believe we can have them? Because sometimes I think we want things, but we don't think that they're actually going to happen. And we put limits on what can happen in our lives. Right? And I know that I've done it. I just There's a few things that I really wanted, but I never thought they were going to be possible for whatever the reason. There was no good reason. The only limit was that I put it on there. So keep in mind that we are our own gatekeepers. Okay? And we can have whatever we're willing to let into our lives. But if we're not willing to let something into our lives, it's not going to come. Opportunities, they may knock, but they're not going to bust down the door. Those good things are not going to force their way into our lives. If we put up this barrier that says, this isn't what I want, or I'm not allowing you to come in, it will not come in. So remember, you can have whatever you want in your life, but you have to be willing to allow it into your life. Okay? And the thing is, you have to believe you're worthy of having those good things. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Travis Warrior Unicorn on Facebook. He is a fantastic creator. He's a medium and all of that. But he said, believe you are worthy and allow it into your existence. That hit me so hard the other day when he said that. Believe you're worthy. You have to believe that you're worthy of things. And you have to allow it to come into your life. Now, the last little thing that I want to say is about allowing things into your life, allowing good things into your life. Now, this is kind of a all-around thing, right? It's the big things and it's also the small things. Okay? Allow big and little things into your life. Allow small things like allowing the day to get better. Just the other day, I tend to journal a lot, even throughout the day. Sometimes I just have to vent. And I was having a rough day. And where I was journaling, it was like, okay, well, now things are better, but mostly because I allowed them to be better. And I want you to think about that. Yes, there's these big, awesome things that we want to allow into our lives, but there's also a bunch of small, little, amazing things that we can allow into our lives. And the big, awesome things aren't going to come into our lives if we don't allow the little things, right? If it is something as simple as allowing your day to turn around. Because sometimes we have a bad morning or we have a bad afternoon. And instead of letting it be a bad afternoon, we make it into a bad day or a bad week or a bad month. And so I want you to think about that. There's a saying, it's like that I heard somewhere. It's like, was it a bad day or was it a bad 5 minutes that you milked all day? So allow good to come into your life and also allow things to get better. Don't insist that because it was bad for a little while, it has to be bad forever. That's not how it works. You can allow it to be better. So that is what I have for you today. I hope that you can be brave enough to allow good things into your life. The big things, the small things, and everything in between. I hope you can allow yourself to believe that you are worth the good, that you are worth the effort. And you know what? You do have the power to change it. And you are the gatekeeper of your own life. You get to allow things to come in or keep them out. The choice is up to you, and you can be brave enough to make that. I love you. I'm rooting for you. You are amazing, wonderful, and awesome. You've got this. And yes, you are brave enough to allow good things to come into your life. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed what you've heard today, please leave a review down below and share this with anyone that you feel like could use a little more brave in their life. And if you'd like to follow more of my journey to be brave, you can follow me on social media and link down below. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to be brave.